Assalamualaikum class. This is your lecture number 3 of your chapter 1. So in this lecture we are going to discuss about the gases exchange in animals. As we have already discussed the gases exchange process in plants in our previous lecture. So like plants, animals do exchange gases with the environment for the respiration process. In order to obtain energy from food, they take in oxygen and give out carbon dioxide. So the process of gases exchange is ultimately linked with the respiration. And we are saying the gases exchange process is done and in which oxygen is taken in and carbon dioxide is given out. This exchange of process is also called as respiration in animals. The respiratory medium for aquatic animals in water, whereas for terrestrial animals is air. So the respiration medium in an aquatic animal, those who live in water, the medium of respiratory medium is water, and those animals who live on land, the terrestrial animals, so their respiratory medium is air. The amount of molecular oxygen present in air is about 21%, while in water it is about 5%. In order to exchange gases, animals have a respiratory surface. In unicellular organisms like protozoa, the plasma membrane serves as the respiratory surface. In multicellular animal, their body surface or some internal surface could serve as the respiratory surface. So here are the respiratory medium or they are talking about the respiration for all the sort of animals, either they are unicellular or they are multicellular, either they are prokaryotes or they are eukaryotes. All the living organism, they contain the respiratory system and the respiration process in which they take in oxygen and given out carbon dioxide. So the percentage of oxygen, if we are talking about the percentage of oxygen in water, that is quite low, that is 5%, and the percentage of oxygen in air for terrestrial animals, that is 21%. And if we are talking about the unicellular organism, for example, here they are giving the example of protozoa. So they use their plasma membrane, the outer wall, that is also called as cell wall. You can say that cell wall, or you can say that plasma membrane, all the cell membrane, all are quite similar. So if we are talking about the this membrane, through this membrane, the unicellular organism protozoa done the exchange of gases or respiration process. In the same way, if we are talking about the multicellular animals, for example human beings, so they have developed a respiratory system for the gases exchange process. Properties of respiratory surface: number 1, thin; second, wet; third, permeable; fourth, large in relation to the volume of the body. So they are talking about the respiratory surfaces that is vary from species to species. For example, if we discuss one of them from all, thin property के बारे में अगर हम discuss करें, so we have discussed later that the upper layer of leaf, that is thinner from the outside and thicker from the inside. So the upper layer is thin, that helps in the movement of stomata. So the respiratory surface are also thin. And if we are talking about wet surface, that is present in mammal respiratory tract, that are moist. And if we are talking about permeable membranes, so permeable membranes are usually occur in the unicellular organism. And the last property, that is large in relation to the volume of the body, that is vary from the size to size species, that how large is the organism, that is basically according to the size of the organism. Next, properties of respiratory surface. It must be sufficient large enough to exchange gases for all the cells of the body. For example, the total surface area of the respiratory surface in human is about 20 times to the size of the body. So basically the next very important characteristics or property of the respiratory surface or the system is the size of the respiratory surface or respiratory system is very important, that it take the sufficient amount of air in it to supply the amount of required amount of oxygen to the whole body. So basically the size of the respiratory system is very important. We're gonna come to the next part, that is large surface area. As increased surface for a gaseous exchange allows a faster rate of diffusion to supply oxygen and remove carbon dioxide, it is also necessary to compensate for the small surface area to volume ratio of the animal body. So basically the large surface area is directly proportional to the faster rate of diffusion of oxygen supply and removal of carbon dioxide. It is necessary when the organ have a very huge surface to capture or to take in a sufficient required amount of air that is needed to supply for the whole body. So it if the organ contain a sufficient amount of area, so basically that will also help in the rate of diffusion and the transfer of gases that will favor for the respiration process. As you can see the picture, here is the picture of your lungs in which you have alveoli, and the alveoli is covered with a patch of capillaries that is responsible for to absorb the oxygen and supply the oxygen to the whole body, and that is also responsible to capture the carbon dioxide in it and get back to the lungs, and then after giving out carbon dioxide into the lungs, the lungs will exhale out carbon dioxide from the body. Thank you students for listening this lecture, and the next lecture we are going to discuss about the exchange of gases in animals. Thank you.